Hey, beautiful people, my duckies. Anyways, Ducky Pants, my old name. I'm gonna tell you about my birth story, my daughter's birth story. Before her, I had 2 miscarriages. That's for another time, another story time. This time, I knew the day that I was like, I'm gonna have a baby. Like, I knew the day. And then I remember knowing the fact that I was at the gym and I was doing lunges and stuff. And then I felt the need of using the restroom. So I went a little spotty, whatever. I'm like, okay, that's not too normal because I had recently had my period and it just wasn't time for it anymore. So whatever, I kept doing what I was doing. I was like, no, I need to go again. And I was like, something's off, something's different. So, whatever. I went home and I was just like, I know what this is. Like, I know. Like, I've been here before. Anyway, so, I was just like, I know I am. I need to go buy a test. I know I am. And at this time, I was living by myself. And I just waited a while. And I told my boyfriend. No, I didn't tell my boyfriend. So whatever, I just waited a while. And I had bought a few tests. And I was like, I am. Like, it was very faint. But I was like, I am. And I was waiting. And then I had told him on our anniversary. Yeah, the day of our anniversary, which is September 10th, I had told him, like, in a card, like, that was my present to him, like, pregnant. And I knew it was for real this time. So then I went and I got a doctor's appointment, got checked. I was about like 5 or 6 weeks. They did an ultrasound, especially because of my past, and they did the vaginal one. And yeah, right away they already had the heartbeat, and I was like, oh my god, this is for real. Like, this time, and I knew in my heart this time it was happening. So whatever, I think I had a pretty much normal pregnancy. Well, yeah, I didn't have like too bad of what is it called? Oh my Jesus, morning sickness. I gagged a few times, threw up a couple times with food, but it wasn't like severe. It wasn't like all the time. And within the first 3 months, which is the first trimester, I was going to the doctor every week because she wanted to make sure that everything was gonna go as planned, because my first miscarriage was at 8 or 10 weeks. My second one was at 6 weeks. So, I never got past the first trimester. So whatever, she was like checking me a lot, and within those 3 months as well, I had 2 incidences when I had to go, when I had to go to the emergency room because I was bleeding, and I was hella scared. But again, they did the ultrasounds, baby was completely fine. It was just my body, whatever. So yeah, pretty normal after that. I was growing okay. I started my weight at 143, 148. I went down to like 136, I think. And then throughout my pregnancy till the time that she was born, I only gained about 9 pounds. Yeah. So I went back up to like my normal weight, which the doctor, towards the end, like in my 3rd trimester, since I really wasn't gaining weight, she was very concerned, and I was eating. It was hard for me to eat, but not like extremely hard, just like my favorite foods. Like, I just had to modify things and I was fine. But I think the fact that I started kind of high, but then I dropped and I started gaining it back, that's what she was like looking more at, I think, at the numbers of like what I started at weight and how much, or where I was. Anyways, whatever. So she had told me that she was going to give me a nutritionist, but it was fine. Went to all my doctor's appointments, all the ultrasounds, everything was completely fine. She was growing like beautifully, And then her birth, I remember I was getting very stressed at work, extremely stressed. And there's only so much I could say or do, but whatever, it is what it is. Remember one time, it was like a Wednesday morning, I think I was closing shift that time, and I work at an eye doctor's office, so our hours were a little different, especially mine. because I couldn't be opening or closing, because I couldn't be lifting things, which was like the chain we used to lock up, or like the gate we used as well. Anyways, I remember that morning I went to the doctor's, and I was going back home. I was gonna get dressed and go to work, and on my way back, literally like diagonally across was a gas station, and right there in the right lane my car stopped. And I was like, what the heck, like this is scary. I was like freaking out because I was already getting super anxious, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh my god, put my emergency lights, and I'm like telling people, go, like, you know, my arm, go around. I think somebody came up to me and they're like, put your, I think I already have my emergency lights, but they're like, pop your hood so people know to go around you. And I was like, okay. So I did that, and I was calling my boyfriend. He was knocked out, didn't hear any of his phones because they were silent. So I'm like, what do I do? And because I live in the guest house behind my sister's house, I called her husband, because he at that time was, whatever, he was home, kind of. He was going to the store with my niece, but luckily he wasn't too far, so he came back. You know, he was waiting there, and then he's like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know, like, I don't know who to call, like, I'm scared, like, I was so, like, nervous. Excuse me. So from there, my boyfriend finally got there. We called AAA. They, I think, towed it to the mechanic. And between all that, once they had taken it to the mechanic, I started getting really bad back pain. And I was like, what the heck, like, you know, I'm just stressed or whatever. But it started hurting really bad. Like, I couldn't move my legs. I couldn't walk. Like, I wanted to cry. Like, it was getting really, really painful. So whatever, we fixed whatever was wrong with the car. And we, like, later on throughout the night, I was like, no, it hurts way too much, like, to breathe, to move, to sit, to anything. So they took me to the emergency room. They're checking me. At this point, I'm 35 weeks and 5 days. I'm sorry, 32 weeks and 5 days. Yeah, something like that. And so when I go to the emergency room, I go straight to labor and delivery, because I'm already at that point where, like, I need to be seen by them. So I go over there, they're monitoring the baby, and they tell me, you know, you're having contractions, right? I'm like, what? No, like, I don't feel that. Why does it feel back pain? Like, I don't know. So then they're like, no, we need to keep you. And so they admit me to the hospital. I was there. They had given me, I was there, that was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So like 4.5 days, or 3.5, whatever. So I was there that time. They had given me 2 shots of magnesium for the baby's brain. They were giving me, oh my gosh, I don't really remember right now. Obviously antibiotics, and I don't know what else. Steroid shots, magnesium for contractions. Something. But they were giving me lots of medications to try to keep the baby in because I was contracting. And then I think it was like the 2nd or 3rd day, like I had to pee, and at one point, because, oh my gosh, I don't remember. No, I think I had to pee or something, and then I felt the bed wet, and I was like, oh shoot. So one of the nurses checked it with like a little strip thingy to see if it was amniotic fluid. She did check it, and then she's like, you're leaking. And so I was on bed rest, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? So again, more medication, try to stop the baby from coming. And then they had come in, and they were talking to me about like a neonatal specialist, something, I forgot what their actual like term is, but they were talking to me about like what can happen to the baby, like worst case scenarios, and you know, giving me information and trying to educate me regarding the baby coming this early, because full term is 40 weeks, and then like being like kind of full term is like 37 weeks and to 40 or so on. Before that, it's different stages of being like preemie, micro preemie, nano preemie. I don't really know, but I just know preemie. So they were giving me all this information. I'm like, okay, cool, like thanks, but what? So all that was happening. Later on, another nurse checked me, and she's like, that's not the amniotic fluid. I was like, okay, I don't know, just let me get up again, whatever. So then by Sunday, everything had stopped. They decided to let me go. So I had gone home, and they told me, you know, just walk, because I was starting to get swollen, and, you know, because I hadn't been walking so much because of the whole baby thing, because I had to put that band where they monitor the heart rate and check it constantly, do little ultrasounds, all that stuff. So that night, Sunday night, I kept walking, but I was so uncomfortable. I'm like, like what's going on? Maybe because I was in the hospital and all the medications, whatever. So I kept walking, and I was like, dude, I'm tired. My back hurts, but I need to walk. So I kept going, and I was like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. I was like, oh shoot. So I go, and like, buttload of liquid, like yeah, you see in movies. I'm like, oh my god, like that was my water breaking, and I was like, oh shit, okay. So that's happening, but as soon as the water was like coming out, insane shooting pain on my back. Like it felt like my back was like opening like that, like legit, like I felt that pain. And I'm like holding on to the sides of like the bathroom whenever shower and all that, and I'm like, oh, like trying to breathe. And then I'm trying to yell out to my boyfriend because he was in the living room. Obviously I was in the bathroom, and he couldn't hear me, and I'm like, oh my god, like how do I scream to him? Until finally I think I said DB, which is like his nickname. So finally he heard me, and I'm like, oh my god, like my water just broke, there's like blood and whatever. So I sit down, and he's like kind of freaking out, and he's like, we need to go, because they had told me that if I start bleeding, I need to rush back to the emergency room. But the pain went away as fast as it happened, as soon as it left. So I was like, no, wait, like please just wait. So I was like, call my sister, she's outside, because when we got home she was outside doing laundry. So he calls her, and I was in the shower. I'm like trying to relax with hot water, and I was telling her about it, and she's like, yeah, we're talking. She's like, you need to go. I was like, okay. And I was like, all right. She's like, but just try to relax first, because once labor starts, like you rather wait, not to the end, but like to get a little closer, because you don't want to just be sitting there in the emergency room or labor and delivery, or something they send you back. So I was there, and I was like, okay. So he's massaging me later after I got out of the shower, and I was like, I need to go, like I need to go to the bathroom. And again right away, poof, more water or fluid. I was like, no, we need to go now. So I got dressed as best as I could. So we go over there, and the whole time I'm just leaking, and we get there, and they put me in the wheelchair. And I remember when they took me to labor delivery, I got up, and I was like, I'm sorry, like it was so wet. They're like, it's fine, don't worry. Okay. So I go sit down, and I register, and again I get up. I was like, I'm so sorry, like I left a mess. They don't care. So whatever, I sat down, barely. I waited, and I'm like texting my sisters, like, hey, I'm over here, my water broke, blah blah blah. And it was like 9, 10. It was like pretty late. So then they take me to get checked to the like labor and delivery section, but it's kind of like emergency room little place where they kind of triage you in a way to check you like what's going on. So they put me in there, and then they asked me to change into the robe, and they're like, oh, we want to change, check the fluid that's coming out. And I remember she was kind of in there helping me, and I taking off my pants, and it's just like leaking, and I'm sorry, and she's like, it's fine. And she literally, I think she went to me like a little piece of kind of or something, and like right away she's like, oh no, your water is breaking. I was like, okay. They put me down, and it's funny, the room that I was in those few days, they just finished cleaning it, went right back into that room. So they're checking me, whatever. At that point, I think I was like 1 or 3 centimeters dilated, and then they're waiting, and then the contractions are getting a little stronger and stronger, because that's when I started feeling them again. I felt more of the back pain, like where it's like spreading open. That's what I was feeling. I didn't feel anything in the front, like where it gets stiff or anything. I didn't feel that. So they're checking me, and then I was like, okay, I could do it. Like anytime I felt it, or someone was talking to me or whatever, I would just try to breathe. I'm like, whatever. And then it started getting worse and worse, and I remember my boyfriend was talking to me, trying to like just distract me, and I was like, don't talk to me right now, like get away. And I wasn't like mad at him, I was just trying to concentrate to not have like think about anything else but the pain. But him talking to me, or anyone talking to me, was making me focus more on the pain. So then finally, to my sister, I need that epidural, I need it. I thought I was gonna go in and not get it, because I was like, no, I have tattoos everywhere, I understand what pain is and how to deal with it. Not this pain, no. No, I was kidding myself. So whatever, we get there. I mean, the anesthesiologist, she had like 3 or 4 patients ahead. Finally gets to my turn. Oh my god, thank god. And then because the whole time I was like trying to turn and trying to like get comfortable as much as I could. She comes, she, you know, it takes a while, because you have to like hunch forward. If you haven't gotten one, you have to hunch forward as far as you can so they could get into like your spinal cord. And yeah, like they do that whole big needle thing, which was like fine, it was whatever. But it was just trying to hunch over. And it's funny, like the longer I was like that, the farther I went down. To finally I was like at a good point. And the whole time I couldn't deal with the contractions. But when that was happening, I was like, I don't want to get paralyzed, or I don't want something bad to happen. So I stayed still. It hurt so bad, but I stayed still, so scared. So yeah, I finally had it. And then one of the nurses again, she's like, well, I'm gonna help you, you know, lift your legs back onto the bed, because sometimes it hits right away and you can't feel your legs. And I kind of laid down and I was like, oh yeah, you're right, because I can't feel them. So that happened. And it wasn't that long after, you know, I tried kind of napping, and then I was like, dude, I'm starting to feel like pressure. Like it feels weird. Like one of my legs is starting to feel like that pressure pain. So then the nurse checks and she's like, you're 7 centimeters dilated. I was like, oh yay. And then she's like, I'm gonna start, you know, calling a team together. Sorry. Iced tea lemonade. You like it? So she starts getting people together, checks me again, 9 centimeters. And this is like going by fast. I heard like an epidural, it like takes longer. No, mine was so much faster. And then my boyfriend can see like the little chart where the little thing, like or whatever decibels, I don't even know, like the measurements of like the contractions. And he's like, you don't feel that? I was like, no, like I just feel pressure, but I don't feel pain anymore. So then by this time it's go time. So, you know, the doctors tell me do practice pushes. Okay. And I remember, well, when they all came in, it was like 8 people, like doctor, nurse, specialist, and then the people from the NICU, like all these people, because at that time, by that day, I was 33 weeks and 2 days. That was on Sunday night. So then as that's happening, I see the time and I'm like, okay, I have to pay attention to when she's born. Like I want to remember this. So whatever, started practice pushing, and you know, I started losing oxygen, or she was. I had to put the oxygen on me. And then finally it's time, and I'm pushing and I was like, fudge, I don't know how to do this. Like I couldn't inhale and push. Like for the life of me, I tried as hard as I could. And they're like, don't suck it back in, you have to push. I'm like, dude, I'm trying. But they were all so nice. They're like, you're doing good, just keep pushing, blah, blah, blah. And the look on my boyfriend's face was so funny, because he was like, what is going on, you know? He's like, I can't believe you're doing this. I'm like, boy, I don't have a choice. Like, I have to do this. My sister had got there earlier, so I think she was like recording or taking pictures, and she was there by my side, and my boyfriend on my other side. And then I keep pushing. I don't think it was very long, because finally when she popped out, I looked at the time, 1:36 a.m. Monday, April 2nd, she was born. And I remember I was like, there's my baby. Looked like an alien. But there she was. And once she finally started crying, I was crying, because I was like, oh my God, like, my baby's here. And then, so I didn't get to see her, touch her. I'm gonna cry now. That was hard. They had to take her to the NICU. They took him with her, you know, to make sure and everything. My sister was there, and it was funny because I'm like, okay, cool, like the hard part is done. And then I see the doctor like doing this. I'm like, what the hell is that? I find out they had to cut me to let her out, and I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't know. Of course I didn't feel. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Anyway, so that had happened, and then I remember right away they had told me, like, they're cleaning me up, the nurses and everything, and right away I could like move my legs, because they're like, oh, you know, we're gonna help you. And I was like, oh, I can do it. So there I am, like moving my legs, trying to help me, you know. And then yeah, that's her story. I don't know what else you guys want to know. Maybe the whole NICU experience. I'll go ahead and share that. That's fine. What else? Breastfeeding story too, because I know that I was so extremely difficult, and I didn't even pump right away either. I was just tired. I was like, oh my god, like trying to remember everything, and I was supposed to pump right away, but I didn't. I waited hours, and that's like a whole other thing. But that's the story of my baby coming out, my little angel. And I'll be honest, I didn't think she was that cute right when she came out. But once she was in the NICU, she looked like a little viejita, like a little old person. It was so cute. And then yeah, that's a different story. But I freaking love her. I thank God every day for her. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Oh. It's crazy when you wanted something for so long and you finally get it, and it's like the most beautiful thing you could ever imagine. That's my child, and that's motherhood. Oh, I cry. If you're a mother, you understand completely. But yeah, that's my story. Whatever else you guys want to know, let me know. Okay, bye.